Let's see if this works. All right, so we're doing which side?
Right.
Okay, cool. So give me just a minute. We'll get everything set up here. I'm going to use 16 paper towels and get yelled at for it again. We'll go from there. All right. How many years of school do you have left?
2.
Oh, that's not bad then.
Hopefully, if I graduate on time. That's the goal right now.
On the bright side, more stories if it takes longer.
Yeah.
Downside, more debt and student loans.
I have a double minor, so I'm like.
What's the double minor in?
One is in musical theater and the other is in arts administration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a theater major.
I dropped out super early, so I never really understood the concept of like minors and majors and what it actually meant by any means. So it's like
it's cash, you know.
So it's not like a minor is not a full degree. You just essentially have like education
extra.
in that field.
Yeah, and the primary one that you choose goes on your degree.
Okay.
So it's like BA in theater and arts administration is what mine will say.
Oh, so the other ones will still be like your minors are still listed on the thing.
Yeah. Only
okay.
one of them.
Okay.
Because Mary Washington won't give you 2 degrees, so you can't have 2 majors listed.
Okay. Jerks.
Yeah, I know. So you get 1 major and 1 minor, and if you have extras, then you don't get them like listed, but you know that you got them.
Yeah, if you're like, I might as well. I'm good enough. That's kind of cool then.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm going to have you do actually is go ahead and just turn towards me, and we're going to get your ear all cleaned off and marked here first, and then we'll go from there. So just get this a second.
I haven't gotten a new piercing a year and a half.
Oh, what was the last one? The nostril?
I think it was actually like my 2nd cartilage in my left ear.
Okay. Your Rook will feel relatively similar to how your Daith probably did, where it mostly just kind of feels like, you know, kind of like pushy pressure on there for a minute.
Yeah.
Once the actual jewelry goes in, all that pressure is gone immediately, which is the cool part. It's just kind of annoying until that point, really. So.
Do I need to take my glasses off or anything? Or?
I'll probably have to have you take them off when we're actually doing the piercing itself, but for now we can kind of keep them on there, so no big deal. Right. Go ahead and just make some marks on here for a minute. Okay. Right. So you're just on break now, or?
Yeah, I'm home for summer.
Nice. Midterm's over?
Yup.
Right, chin up a little bit for me. Got it. Make some marks in here for a second. How long do you have before you have to go back then?
I go back like the 2nd week of August.
Okay, so you still have some time.
Yeah, I have to go back early for theater.
When does everyone else start back up?
The end of August.
Oh, so they'll have more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm working on the fall show, so I have to go back early for rehearsals and stuff.
What's the show?
It's called The Amish Project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's about a shooting in a fictional town of Amish people.
Okay.
And it's pretty friggin' relevant right now, so I'm like, yes.
Fair enough. You want to take a look at the mark for me? You're just going to see pretty much just like a straight line down your ear there is all.
Yep. Cool.
Relevant in the sense that shootings in Amish areas are happening, or just relevant in the sense of like shootings in general?
Happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
and they end
Amish
up with
areas
like a ton of gun control. I'm like, very nice.
Interesting. So whenever you're ready, I'm going to have you lie down. Opposite of how she's had you before, so head this way actually. Feet that way, yeah. There are 2 piercing rooms in this studio, funny enough. One of them is designed for someone who is right-handed. One of them is designed for someone who is left-handed. Jen is left-handed, so everything in this room I'll probably do opposite from the way she normally does.
Gotcha.
So head all the way that way for me. Just going to prep you one last time here, and then we'll get everything all set for you. So
cool.
Go from there. Just going to paint your ear crazy orange for now.
Perfect. I'm ready.
It's not really a good orange. It's kind of like well, I guess that's their orange.
It's a friggin' look.
It's like a bad spray tan.
I'm Beauty. I'm Grace. I'm Miss United States.
Yeah, I was gonna say pop glasses off. I'm gonna slick little baby hairs back for a minute.
Cool.
And then we'll get everything also set for us. Stay. Alright, cool. Let me go ahead and grab your jewelry out and we'll get you set. That's not too bad then if you have to go back to school and stuff, but I guess you have a couple months at least then. So if you're not going back till like August, that still gives you what, like 3 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. There will be a point in your life where you will greatly miss the opportunity to have 3 months of no responsibilities or anything to do.
Oh, yeah.
I still think about that sometimes and I'm like, man, I miss the concept of summer. Because you really take advantage of it until you fully understand how nice it is to have.
Yeah.
And then when you don't have it anymore, you're like, oh, yeah, that was wonderful. Alright. So give me just a minute to get everything kind of set up and opened up for you here, and then we'll start walking you through stuff. Like I was saying, mainly just pressure more than anything else. This is the Rook an early birthday gift to yourself?
Yep.
Nice.
It's kind of like a birthday / end of year. You made it.
Okay. Yeah, congratulations for not dying during midterms.
Woo! Yeah, exactly. I made it through another year. Woo! Yay, college.
That's how I felt about it. I was like, woo, didn't die.
Yeah, really? I'm like, wow, I survived. Nice.
I say that as if I made it through more than like a year and a half worth of college. It's not exactly there for a long period of time. It was definitely... I actually didn't ever technically drop out. I was on academic suspension.
Yep.
For just not going.
Yep.
So.
Sounds about right.
It's funny, if you just don't go long enough, they just kick you out.
Yeah.
Instead. They save you all the time, which is kind of cool. You don't really have to worry about it at a certain point because you're like, oh, okay, cool, I guess I'll just not go anymore.
Yeah.
Shannon's talking about going down to a university in Florida at the end of the year when she starts college. And I was like, what I used to do when I was in school in Florida was that I would just, instead of going to class, I would just go to the beach instead.
Yep.
I would do the most like generic Florida thing that I could possibly think of because I was like, well, what else do I want to do except for just go to the beach instead?
Yeah.
Like, that's a solid option, right? No one's going to care if I do that.
Oh, I feel.
Alright. So the piercing itself here will be really quick. Your jewelry should go in pretty much right after that. The longest part of the whole process is going to be me just tightening down the little gem on the top there.
Yeah.
That'll take like 6 hours because there's a camera on, so
Usually.
make it nice and fast. Right, so I'm going to have you actually scoot towards me a little bit on the table if you can, and turn your head all the way that way. Perfect. I'm going to pop a little drape over here for a second here. Just to keep those last little baby hairs out of the way. Right. And are you ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, just like I said, was I'm going to line things up on the underside of your Rook here for a minute. Once I have that all set and ready to go, I'll let you know before you feel a bit of pinchiness.
Cool.
And then it's going to basically just be a big deep breath in, big deep breath out, that's all. It's going to feel just that same kind of bit of like pressure for a minute. Once the jewelry's in there, that pressure goes away, and then I just got to go ahead and put the top on, that's all. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of line things up here. So you're going to have a little pinch in the underside. When you're ready, give me a big deep breath in and out. Good job. Piercing is done. Just going to go ahead and slide your jewelry through here. Doing okay so far?
Yeah.
Good job. Right, it's going to feel a little weird and slidey for a second. Jewelry's in, hard part's over.
Cool.
Let's get rid of the pointy things. The top on there, and that'll be the whole deal. Not too bad there, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah, you get like a tiny drop of bleeding on there, but nothing that would be concerning or really crazy also.
Nice.
Nothing too bad. Okay, pressure one last time here for just a minute. Just tightening stuff down. Awesome. Let me get you clean off a little bit. That's the whole thing.
Cool.
How you feeling?
Good.
This right here will be kind of wet for a second, but it usually feels pretty great. Turn your head back to this way a little bit. Okay. Just kind of let that sit in there for a second. Cool everything off a little. And we'll just make it so you're not covered in orange here.
No more spray tan. Goodbye.
No. Not the look you want to walk out of here with.
Nah.
Just when you get back home and mom and you're like, hey, look what I got done. She's like, what the hell happened to your ear?
Mama Rats is just like, what is this?
Alright, I'll get you clean off the last little bit and then we are all done, okay?
Cool.